crack a cold one.
Hey everybody, it's Flint from Flint and Steel Survival, once again bringing you a video. And this is going to be a video response for Country Prepper. Turns out that he followed me, or subscribed, sorry. And so I went on to his channel and subscribed to him. And without even knowing it, same exact time, he's running a 500 subscriber giveaway. And what he wants for his video response, other than a shout out, is to show off a kit. So this is actually going to be my bushcraft belt setup. I also accompany it with bags, sometimes a small bag, sometimes a big one. Just depends where I'm going and if I know the terrain. I'm going to bring more if I don't know it, and probably exactly what I need, which will always be less if I have been there before or know exactly where I'm going. So that's what's laid out on the table. Before I get started, stumbling over my words today, sorry. Please go check out his channel. I now have 38 great subscribers. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. But at his 500 mark, he can only go up from here. So please jump over there and subscribe if you're not already. Where to start? Well, let's start with this. Empty. We're all safe. I know the gun's going to shoot you through the camera. This is my Taurus Ultralight. It is a 38 special, and I carry it on my right side of the belt and actually kicked back behind my hip. So if I'm going to open carry, which is outside of my waistband, usually in the woods, I'll kick this back on the edge of my hip on the bag, so I'm more drawing it from behind me and bringing it forward. And I usually carry that if I know there's rattlesnakes in the area, or bear country, or really any time I feel like carrying a gun, this is going to be my go-to. So Taurus Ultralight. Next, on that same side, I've showed you guys this before, but this will be my Ontario Blackbird. Great knife. Absolutely great for all bushcraft tasks. Then I carry that kicked forward on the same hip. So I actually carry it, this behind and this in front, so this kicks off just a little bit from my hip, so it's easy to grab, and then this will sit behind it. And if I'm going to go, slamming through the woods, felling trees, and chopping down the whole forest, I will switch my Ontario out for my SE5. Such a great knife. I really would need to get out and use that more, but scared to ruin it. It's such a nice knife. Alright, we got those out of the way. Let's start with the bag. It is a handmade, hand-sewn, leather belt bag, and it's got 2 belt loops that are fairly large, so you can put a large belt through it, and it kind of hangs a little lower than the belt, but this space in between here gives me the perfect spot to slip in a pair of leather gloves. Keep in mind, these are newer gloves. I've only used them a couple times. My old ones wore straight through the fingers, so I'm not some scrub that's got clean gloves. I mean, they're kind of dirty, but these are almost brand new. So those get tucked behind the bag, and if you notice on the bag, real stag antler button, and it's actually got a long braid. You just flip it up over the button and pull it tight. So it's real easy with gloves to maneuver, and that's the bag. In the back of the bag, well, I'm still thinking about it. Don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a, let's see if I can get you some light. There's a card holder. I know what I can do. Right there. And this was actually built by a gentleman here in Salt Lake. I never got his name. I saw him at a show. And this was actually meant as an everyday carry bag for, walking around town. So this could be used as a wallet even. So in that spot, I carry my SE Survival Guide card. I mean, it's got the survival acronym, contact info for SE, and then some of these survival tips and ground to air distress signals, measuring measurements, I guess is what I'm trying to say, inch and millimeter and then some conversions, and then also a Fresnel lens. See if I can, there you go. So that's my first method in the kit of starting fire. But the downside of that is obviously you need sun. So when there's no sun, I have a ferro rod, which will strike off this knife, or any knife basically that I would carry out there, this is going to strike off of. It's just a regular Coughlin's, cheapo. I have a couple of them. This one's probably my best used one. I really tore into it. It's got a lot of pitting on it. Next way of starting fire is going to be my Johnny Cash Bic lighter. This thing and me have been through hell and back. Carried it a lot. It's actually almost running out. But when it does, I will replace it with another equally cool Bic. Food source. My new Millennium Energy Bar. This is the coconut flavor. They're all basically good, but this one has 400 calories and it's very low sodium. So, unlike some survival bars, this is actually pretty healthy for you. It's almost a full meal replacement. So if I were to get stranded, this is an instant meal right here. I don't have to hunt, I don't have to fish, don't have to gather, I have it right here. So most situations in which I would get stranded, this is going to pull me out. Now, one thing you will notice is not on this table is a water filtering device or any sort of water. That will definitely go in the big pack. These are just quick things I can grab real quick if I'm, you know, oh, let's stop here and do this. This is a little leather pouch I made myself, just a drawstring top. And this is what I keep my fire stuff in. I got this out of a kit, you know, those like build your own leather stuff, and it came with a tassel, so I threw them on there, the fringe, I guess. So I'm thinking about taking those off, but right now it's not hurting anything to have them. And in that, I usually gather from the woods dry stuff. Right now I have some chestnut shells, so these are great. They catch a spark, they're cupped. You know, you can start a fire in this and move it into your tinder bundle, just one of these. So these are great to have. I was lucky to find them. Put those there. This is another ignition source, basically. What it is if you've ever had those speakers from the 70s, they have that foam, like, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's like, it's the cardboard stuff from the back of that that insulates sound. And what you do, this is an old Boy Scout trick, is you drop those in paraffin wax. And when they rise, they're ready. So then you take this, and you can break off a chunk or use the whole thing, and you shoot sparks into it. It's going to light up almost instantly, and it gets incredibly hot, and it'll basically catch anything you have, wet or dry. And I'm keeping it in this little bag to keep it waterproof in case my pack gets soaked for some reason. Next up is just a regular bandana. We've already talked in my EDC video about how I carry these everywhere for all sorts of things. Hot pot off the stove or filtering water, you know, anything could be used for that. So I could definitely keep one of those. Next, I have thrown in recently my Gerber clutch. We went over this in my collection video, if I remember correctly. The main thing I'm using this for is pliers and wire cutter. And I will show you the wire cutter reason in a minute. Most of the other tools are garbage, but they'll work for prying or basically anything else, and it's perfectly small. And then finally in this kit, I've been working on it lately, is basically snare material. So here's a couple washers, and I actually use beading wire because it's super strong, it's pretty thick, and it holds up really well against a lot of force. So it's better if you kind of melt the ends together. I haven't this time yet, but you use this in conjunction with these to make the perfect snare. And I still do owe you guys a video on how I make my snares, and you'll have to wait on that one, and that'll be a follow-up. So that'll conclude my kit video for Country Prepper. Please go subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. Seems like a great guy. Just subbed to him today. He just barely subbed me a little while ago. I think a week. So That's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Flint from Flint and Steel Survival. Have a great day.